Hi guys, welcome to another video. Have you ever wondered this? Why do some bags become so desirable? They hold their value, they are sold out everywhere. And why do some that are perfectly good bags, there's nothing to note on them that you think, oh well that's why, because it doesn't appeal to the masses or something, why they just don't sell, particularly that they don't hold their value? What is it? And why is it that I cannot sell this bag? No matter what I do, I am destined to keep this bag. Let's get going. There are bags out there that sell out before they even hit the stores. There are bags out there that you cannot get your hands on. Hermes is a typical example. Their bags are so sought after, so desirable, but there are other brands that have sell-out pieces. And what is it about those in particular compared to other ones in maybe the same range or the same collection, the same season, the same level of quality and craftsmanship and brand awareness and all of the rest of it? Some do so well and some just don't. Some hold their value, some hold better value than others, and some you cannot give away. This is a typical example. This is a typical example. Now this, let me tell you the story behind this one. This is the Idyl Caro bag in the small size, in the colour, I can't remember, I think it might be slate. It's a beautiful grey anyway, with aged gold hardware. Now I have a couple of videos saying how much I love this bag, and I do stand by that. I haven't fallen out of love with it. It is just that my collection, this is my take on things. My collection has evolved a lot over the last couple of years. I have sold quite a lot of bags and I have dipped into all sorts of new different things, whether it's colours, textures, styles. I've just been practicing, I suppose, or trying to have an open mind about things. So that's where we are. And when I bought this was my only bag of this sort of size. And since then, I then found this one, which is the Chanel Mini. And they are comparable to some extent, as in the size of these and the function, and when I would use this one is the same time that I possibly would use this one, and I always reach for this one. So that is why this one has taken a back seat, and I really haven't used it since this one came along. And I really wish, in hindsight, which is a wonderful thing, I wish that I'd have gone for the medium size of this rather than the small, because it would have been a contrast to this. And I think that is something, I am not missing anything. Have a look at all these behind me. I can't really say I've got gaps, but you know what I mean. I think I would use this more if it was in the medium size. So I decided that I would probably let this go at the right price, because I don't need to sell it. I'm not desperate to sell it. It would just facilitate me maybe being able to get this in a medium size. So off I went and tried to sell it. So I mentioned it on my channel a couple of times and I didn't have any takers as such from you guys. I don't think I put it in a full vlog sale. I think I just mentioned it. I reached out to a couple of people who I have had interaction before with to see if they were interested. No takers, which is absolutely fine. I put this on Vestiaire. This is the bag I was talking about in my other video, where it sold, and it sold for a little bit less than I would have hoped, but it sold for a price that I was happy with in the end. And it got rejected because Vestiaire told us that yeah, the hardware was damaged, and it isn't damaged, and we've been through this. I think they've got some absolutely magnifying technology that picks up every little speck of something, and this is an aged hardware, so it's not perfect to start with. Anyway, it got rejected. The pictures got sent to the potential buyer, who decided she wasn't going to take the risk. So it got cancelled, so it got sent back to me. I then sent this to Bagista, who I've not worked with on a sponsorship basis, but I have sold and bought bags through quite a few times now. And they accepted this as pristine, immaculate, absolutely pristine. So again, it just showed that Vestiaire were completely overzealous with it. Anyway, off it went to Bagista, and it hasn't sold because it is back in my hand. Now, I didn't give it the full 2 months, I think it is, of selling. I've given it a month and a bit, I think, and I just said to them to send it back to me. There's no interest in it. There's no interest. Now, I could come on here and tell you that loads of people are interested, so if anybody is interested, it has to go to the highest bidder. That's not the case with this one. It just isn't. It isn't sought after, and it isn't hard to find, and it will go for nowhere near retail, even though this is absolutely pristine, immaculate, beautiful. The leather is amazing. So it just got me thinking. So basically, I'm stuck with this bag. So unless somebody does come along and want it, it'll just stay in my collection because I will not give it away. And that is how it is. However, it did get me thinking, and I have touched on this in other videos, what makes the Caro bag not desirable in the pre-loved market? Why does it not hold its value, or even anywhere near hold its value? Now, Dior is sort of known not to hold its value, but I think some designs do better than others with Dior. Now, Chanel it does hold its value, not necessarily your full money back, but these are pre-loved bags, so I think it is fair to say that you shouldn't be expecting your money back on any of these things because they're pre-loved. But these are a lot more sought after and desirable and do hold their value a lot better than Dior, for example. So this as an actual little case study is maybe slightly unfair because this is caviar, and Chanel do not do caviar minis like this. They do an odd seasonal piece, but they don't do caviar minis like this anymore. So these have become sought after to find one because it's been quite a few years now since they've made these. So in one way, I think it's slightly unfair to maybe compare, trying to compare the Caro and the Chanel mini, because Chanel, it's got a different brand awareness maybe, and this one is more difficult to get hold of in that respect. But it just got me thinking that why do Chanel bags in general, even if this was in lambskin, it still would command a better return on your investment, if you like, than this one would. So certain bags that have sold out are blaringly obvious why they have. It may be things like Hermes are a completely different kettle of fish, as they say, where they control the supply, they control who they sell to, they control all of that, and they love the pre-love market, putting these at double and triple the price because it makes them even more desirable to get them from store. So when they say they don't like you to sell on your things, they love it because it all feeds into this absolute great big scarcity and everybody wanting it, and it's the pinnacle and all of the rest of it. So Hermes is slightly different because they started that model, that business model with the Birkin, and the Kellys become that over the years as well. And then they're now able to add the constants and all the rest of it. So that is Hermes, but Chanel don't necessarily stop the supply. They have stopped making certain things, which only helps the pre-love market on these. But on certain other releases, they will control the supply of them, and they'll make sure VIPs get certain things. And it makes it appear to the ordering person in the street that you can't just go in and buy certain things. So they control it to some extent, but so do Dior in that respect. So it's very, very difficult to understand why certain things take off and certain things don't. There could be huge huge marketing budgets behind certain launches, and that has a massive effect, whether it is through influencers. By Louis Vuitton do it, Dior have done it, Hermes don't do it, I don't think Chanel do it, but certain brands have done this where they will give a certain bag to all of the top influencers, and they're showing it on their feed all the time, and you know, it gets out there by way of YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of the above. So if they are heavily campaigned, maybe like the Pharrell Williams, when he launched the Speedy, he could put the price at pretty much whatever he wanted. I was shocked how high the prices were for the Speedy when they first came out. And I thought, oh, they're absolutely chancing their arm on this one. And yeah, they have sold out, and they are very difficult to get. But again, they are controlling the supply. So how many people are actually buying them versus how much is actually available, I'm not entirely sure. If you completely control the supply to very, very few of these bags, it's easy to sell out. Easier than making so many of them and creating a bit of a frenzy. So some of it is perception rather than reality, and I think that's really important. But I do think seeing celebrities wearing these things, seeing influencers who are now celebrities, it does create that little bit of influence, doesn't it, of going, I really want that looks really cool. But it still comes back to the fact that that bag won't be anywhere near as, you know, it's no different quality to something else. If we go back to the Caro bag, the Caro bag is beautifully made. The leather, this is calfskin, I think, and the leather, the hardware inside, it's all beautifully leather lined. The detail that goes on the chain, it's absolutely stunning bag. So you cannot say anything about quality because that doesn't come into this. It's definitely no more well made than this one, or no less made than this one. It isn't. It is beautifully made. So yeah, I just thought it was quite interesting that what goes through our mind when we are buying some of these things. I think I did know that the minute I bought this new in store that it wouldn't hold its value, and if I was buying a bag in the hope and having the comfort that I could sell it on if it didn't work out for me, Dior is never a consideration. You have to just buy the bag because you love it, because you know it doesn't hold its value. So it's one of those things, isn't it, of yeah, maybe Dior have more availability, or I'd like to know why Dior does not hold its value. I'd also like to know why Fendi doesn't, because the peekaboos are beautifully made, and I know again there's different factories making different things, and I think most of these fashion houses have their atelier version of bags that are beautifully handmade and everything else, and then they have other factories that make more of the production line type of bags. But the peekaboo, I know, is made absolutely beautifully. The quality of the peekaboo is unbelievable. It is not necessarily like, say, the Fendigraphy. I think that was a more of a production line one, but the peekaboo does not hold its value. So if that is a consideration to any of us, then we are probably going to go pre-loved, which then doesn't help the demand of the retail. And I don't know. I really don't know. I'd love to know what you guys think. What do you think is the deciding factor? Is it just the millions and billions of pounds that goes into marketing, into certain designs? Because let's face it, certain things in Louis Vuitton do not hold their value where others do. And it isn't to do with the quality of what's being made. Obviously, there is the time value of money. If you buy something years and years and years ago, and then you wait all those years and try to sell it, the time value of money will mean that you could possibly get your money back because you paid so little for it in the first place, and the prices have gone up and up and up and up for that same thing over the years. So if I'd have bought, like my Alma PM, for example, I bought that 20 odd years ago, and I think it cost £300-ish. Well, I'm sure if I wanted to sell that now, I would get more than £300 for it, because brand new they are 1,400-1,500, something like that. So mine, being the vintage version, which has a different interior, would still be quite desirable to some people who are nostalgic. So I'm sure I'll be able to more than get my money back on that. Yes, I'm not going to get 1,500-1,600 for it, of course I'm not, but I should get back more than I paid for it back in the day. So time value of money does change things. And also the price of things. Sometimes the price being good and the price being, well, shall we say low? Let's say low and high. The prices being low can often create demand in order to sell out. And the price being high, like seriously silly high, can also contribute to this becoming completely desirable, because people think, why is it so expensive? I need to have it. Some people who would never pay that will never pay that no matter what it is. So they're ruled out of this equation anyway. But the people who can afford it suddenly think, why is that so expensive? What's so good about it? Why is there a buzz around it? And actually, if that same piece, like the Birkin, for example, if they had priced it half of the price, it would be like all the other bags out there of all the same quality, and it wouldn't command. It's put itself in a completely different bracket. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't, because other brands have tried to do that, but they don't have the brand awareness behind it if all their other things are reasonably priced. So prices and how you fit into the market is so interesting, I think. So interesting. At the end of the day, I'm left with this bag. I am left with this bag, and we will see what happens with it. I think if I do get an offer, if one of you guys is particularly interested in this, buying this at a reasonable price, not at a giveaway price, then yeah, DM me on Instagram and we can go from there. But I don't know. It is still a beautiful bag. Every time I look at it, I think it is very, very beautiful. So yeah, why is it? Go into the comments and let's start a discussion. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on another one.